Hi everyone, this is CricketSong with Uner Wisdom, and this video is going to be answering the question, why did your coven dissolve? This video was brought to you by the generous donations from viewers like you. To learn more about how to support CricketSong and to continue to view content such as this, please visit our Patreon page by clicking the link below. So many of my viewer subscribers have been reaching out to me since I think I mentioned that my coven dissolved in a Sacred Circle episode. Well, they've been reaching out to me through Facebook or here on YouTube through messages or by sending me emails asking if I would share with them why my coven dissolved, why I dissolved it. I haven't really been responding to any of those messages because I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to respond. And to be quite honest, I was very upset with the fact that I did dissolve the coven. Now I'll tell you right now that I will not share play-by-play. I will not give specific details as to why. But I've decided that I will give you a overall feeling or understanding of why I dissolved the coven. Now, I understand the reasons why you're asking because many of you confided in me that you were considering starting your own coven and you sort of wanted to have some idea of what you would be getting involved with and possible problems. So that's why I'm going to share with you some situational things and I guess some advice or if I were to do it again, how I would do it again. Now, first of all, I want you to understand that the coven that I dissolved is the in-person coven. I do have online coven or circle where there is a group that has gone through my dedicant year in a day and are involved in the second year in a day or the initiate, and we have formed an online coven and we are still working together, but it's different than the in-person coven, obviously, because the in-person coven we would meet in person and the online coven is people from across the United States. So the in-person Lunar Wisdom Coven, the coven that I'm going to be discussing right now, was birthed in April of 2011 and I dissolved it in May of this year, 2016. So the coven as a coven was around for 5 years. Prior to that, it was a learning circle, and I believed we did that learning circle anywhere between 6 months and a year. I'm not sure how long the learning circle went on. And at the end of when I dissolved the coven in May, the only two original members from the actual birthing in April were still members in May, myself being one of them. And the other member who was present at the birthing ended up taking like a leave of absence and then came back and was a member when the coven dissolved in May. So the membership of the coven had changed drastically over those 5 years that it was in existence. People left because of jobs. People left because they moved out of the city. People left because of relationships. And I had, I think, 2 leave because they just couldn't get along, and they decided to step out of the coven because of the chaos or the problems that it was causing if they stayed. So there was multitude of reasons why people came and left. The underlying reason why I dissolved the coven, from my perspective, although I'm sure you could talk to the other members other than the high priest, as to why I dissolve the coven, you may get different answers as to why. But from my personal reason why I dissolved the coven was because overall it was no longer working. Specifically because I was the only one who had made the coven the utmost priority in my life, and nobody else in the coven, including the high priest, felt the same way. This is not speculation. This is not me speculating that none of them felt the same way. This is point blank, rank where the coven falls in your list of priorities. For me, it was number one, and there was no one else that named it number one. And because it was a number one priority for me, I put a majority of my personal time and energy went into the coven. And yes, that was my choice. It was my choice to do so. But nobody else did that. And because of that, the energy and the effort and the time I put into that, there was not an equal exchange. There was not an equal exchange between me and the other members of the coven. And over the course of 5 years, I became drained. I became unable to give anymore. And when I stopped giving the amount of time and energy that I did to the coven ended up sort of falling apart, disintegrating. The energy was no longer being fed by me, and nobody else was feeding it. Well, they were feeding it, but that's unfair of me to say. They were feeding it, but not to the amount that I was feeding it. And if you take this concept and consider that you've created something, an energetic thought form, and you've been feeding it, X amount of energy for 5 years, and then you step back and nobody else is feeding it as much energy as you have been, that energy ball will slowly start to diminish. And as it diminishes, it creates disharmony, or it creates a chaotic energy field around it. And that then creates this uncomfortable feeling within that energy. So this uncomfortable feeling within the coven is created, and then other things, other signs, other symptoms, other situations start popping up. And then it just becomes, this very chaotic and uncomfortable energy to deal with. And I had nothing left to give. That's why the coven dissolved. So if you are one of those people who contacted me and is concerned that this could happen in your coven, or in the coven that you want to create, understand that it possibly could. How would I go about doing this, or creating a coven where this wouldn't become an issue? I don't know if you actually can, but steps that I did, I guess I thought I took the correct steps so that this wouldn't happen. I made my expectations very clear, and everybody that joined the coven or petitioned to join the coven and went through the year and the day and went through initiation were told that these were the expectations. And I believed that they understood and agreed to it. But again, over the course of time, things change in people's lives and people's priorities change. When you meet someone and they go through the year and the day, and maybe, and I'm not saying this is the situation that happened, but I'm trying to give you an example. So say you meet someone who just graduated college, and they're dating someone, but it's not a big deal. I mean, they're just dating. They just got a new career. They started their career. And then over time when they join the coven, things seem stable. But then they're a member of your coven for a year, and now their boyfriend proposed to them, and maybe they get a promotion at work. Then if they get the promotion, maybe now their job requires more hours. Maybe they can't always have a Wednesday night off for your coven meetings. So now they can't come to meetings anymore. So now, do they stay a member of the coven if they're not coming to meetings or rituals? Maybe that same person doesn't get a job promotion, but now they're engaged and now they're planning to get married. So now their wedding plans are now a priority, and the coven isn't anymore. Maybe job becomes that priority, and then it wasn't a priority, and now it is. Do you see what I mean? You can never really truly predict someone else's future, because they're constantly making changes and making choices that will affect what's going to happen in their future. And maybe the coven is a priority for them now, but a year from now, 2 years from now, it's not. Or even better, a month from now or 2 months from now, it's not. So I don't think there is ever a way that you can stop that from happening. However, I think, being upfront about it being a priority and your expectations of, what you expect from them are made clear when they're studying with you, or when you're having this conversation about them joining your coven. And I guess the vetting process could be more rigorous. If I were to do it again, I'd be more strict about who I allow in the coven, and really make sure that they're truly committed to this, and this isn't just they're just curious about it, but that they're serious about practicing with a group of witches, and they're serious about their practice even. I can tell you it's really heartbreaking when when things start falling apart, because you've created these relationships with these people, and when the relationship starts to fall apart, it hurts. And then when the coven falls apart, something that you've put personal time and energy into falls apart. It hurts. But for me personally, just giving it up to God herself and watching the signs and allowing her to guide me through the process and through the rebirth has been an experience. So I would not change the experience. I would not change any of it, because it has brought me to where I am today. And where I am today is interesting. And where I am today is still being part of a group, the online coven, but still having a very personal, intimate practice with my God and Goddess, with the Lord and Lady, with deity, with that, and exploring that is quite interesting for me at this time. I love you. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other social media platform. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This way you won't miss any of my newly uploaded videos. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook through my CricketSong fan page or my Lunar Wisdom business page. And you can always find me on my website, at www.lunarwisdom.net.